The following may contain offensive language, adult humor, and or content that some viewers may find offensive. The views and opinions expressed by any one speaker does not explicitly or necessarily reflect or represent those of Mark Radulich or W2M Network. Please listen with caution, or don't listen at all.
Hooray for Hollywood, where stars are living large in mansions with their servants and their credit cards in charge, with fame that's fleeting but the egos never change, where everyone's a genius except the ones who really arrange. Hooray for Hollywood, where the scandals always sell, where every whispered secret is a new tabloid's tell. Oh, how we adore the endless red carpet galore. Hooray for Hollywood, where less is always more.
Hey, Robert.
Hi, Mark.
Hey, David.
Hey, Mark.
I didn't know what I was doing here was unique. Tell you what I mean by that. When I bring somebody on, or when I opt to do a podcast with somebody, have a dialogue, I didn't realize that the structure that I have chosen, that I have actively been participating in, where I'm interested in what you have to say, so I shut up and let you express yourself fully. And if I have an issue with something that you've said, we'll address the issue. I won't commence to dogpile or misrepresent or insult. Well, I will insult, but I'll insult well after you're done talking. And
so you're never going to be able to write for the Bear.
That is correct. Also, I shouldn't engage in other people's TikTok lives.
Yeah.
I instigated a bit of a flame war with the online TikTok communists.
Well,
and I agitated at least one of them enough that she decided to make a stitch where you'll find this funny, Rob, because you've been with me this whole time. So she found my W2M bio where it says, I started a blog in 2004 called Progressive Conservatism. And because she is I'm going to be nice about this, young lady, and she saw the word conservatism, being an online TikTok communist, decided that was going to be what the whole stitch was about, and defined me and all of my 49 years on this earth as only being a conservative. We're going to drop the progressive part. Just a conservative. And it's so funny because you've known me for 15 years. You've heard a lot of my philosophical points of view, some of which have changed over time based on new information. You should, and I know you're not because you're mostly a robot, but you should be laughing hysterically at this. So she just proceeds to define me outright as just a conservative. And I have biases. And here's the crux. This is the thing. And this is the trap that I walked into that I didn't know was there. I didn't see the bear trap is what happened. I did not see the bear trap that was hidden in the woods that other people might have seen in plain sight, but I missed it entirely because I am old. And that is, I'm not allowed to participate in a discussion of a philosophical, political, or economic idea that I don't embrace as my own religion. I'm not allowed to participate in a conversation about communism, wherever it may lie, and in whatever its form it is, because I identified in part as somewhat conservative. She said, you have a bias. You have a bias. Therefore, it disqualifies you from participation. I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know that's the world we live in now.
Well, it's the world of the internet, Mark.
Well,
yeah,
the world of some people on the internet, yeah. Yeah. I mean, of course, I assume that she is completely rational and unbiased in every way.
And her hair's its natural color, and she is absent at least 4 face piercings.
In defense of this lovely young lady,
you didn't deny that.
She does not have face piercings, and her hair appears to be her natural God-given color. However, yeah, I went on this chick's live just to kind of look, and I was being a nice person. I was sharing it, I was liking it. I just wanted to hear what the communists who got aggravated. I'll tell you the real backstory to this. So Madeline Pendleton, who And this is the irony of ultimate ironies. This is from what I understand, I may have some of this wrong because I'm gleaning it from a little bit of what she said. I haven't independently done a deep dive into this woman's life. But she does from her own stuff that I've heard, she's done she's opened up a business of some sort, I guess like a fashion business, and it operates under socialist principles. In her home state of California, hang on, everybody. In her home state of California, in the good old US of A of Nancy Reagan and apple pie, and what's the word again? Capstone, caps and robbers, bottle caps, capitalism. That's the one.
I was this close to helping you. Not once for the record.
Yeah, I'm sure. So she does this business. It operates under some principles of socialism, where I guess everybody in there owns a piece of the business, which is fine. But from that, she has benefited from the largesse of the country that protects her rights and allows her to open up any cockamamie business she wants to. And she has taken that time and largesse and decided, I'm going to do a podcast extolling the virtues of communism. Wonderful. Let this whole world be a library of ideas that we can share and accept and reject at our will. She then gets comments from this podcast that she does and turns them into these little skits where she's mostly attacking the compatible left, which I enjoy. I am amused by this. And so I followed her, and I started to listen to some of what she had to say, and I see a lot of her stuff come up in my feed. And for the most part, I passively watch it, like I do most TikToks. Then she does this one about North Korea, and the whole thing is extolling the virtues of how wonderful North Korea is, and anything that's been said bad about it is communist propaganda, CIA propaganda.
Yeah, sure.
Hang on, this gets better.
Does it?
So I did a essay titled, what was the name of it again? Give me a second. Something about counter myths. The comfort of counter myths. Because I don't so much care that she did North Korean propaganda for them, which was nice of her. Because, gosh, the North Koreans are missing that one critical element of their political ideology, and that's a good propaganda machine.
Yeah, sure.
Oh,
be sure to mention their migrant crisis too.
Will do. So I don't so much care about that. She's entitled to do whatever she wants to her TikTok. I do care that replacing one myth with a counter myth is awfully dangerous. It's not a great thing. And that's what my whole TikTok was in response to. I don't care about the North Korea stuff. And I somewhat corrected her on it, but for the most part, I was like, hey, what you're doing here isn't good. Replacing one myth with another myth doesn't benefit anybody. And it doesn't really make your point strong. If your point is so weak that you have to lie about it, you have no point at all. This, for me, for little old me, the minnow in an ocean of sharks, in terms of content creators on TikTok, wildly popular. Over 20 some odd thousand views at this point. One of my better ones. 200 plus some odd comments of people fighting with each other about the virtues of communism.
Which are incredibly limited.
I don't care.
It's pretty good. I mean, it's a great system if you ignore the mass graves and slave labor camps.
Boy, ain't it.
So to get to the point, because people are waiting for us to talk about Avatar. So
Jim Cameron.
So this nicely. Speaking of communists, James Cameron. Listen to me. So this nice young lady stitches my video, thinks she's outing me as some sort of wolf in sheep's clothing, because she's coming from the ideology of, if you are not in line, you do not get to participate in the discussion. So here I am participating in the discussion, not being one of them. And so that's her whole point of the TikTok. You're not one of us. Go away. So then I took a screenshot of her profile on TikTok, said this, saying you should not allow alternative ideas is dangerous. I then go on to her live like an idiot, because I am an old man who wandered into a bear trap. And the first thing she says is, oh, this is the guy that says I'm dangerous. No, sweetie. No. What you did was dangerous, dear. You cute thing, you. You positively adorable child. What you did was dangerous. You are just a child. You have no you have no dangerousness about you. You have no, you're not a threat to anyone. You're just like me, just another voice on TikTok among the zillions. What you did was dangerous because what you essentially said was only people who think the same, act the same, are the same, be the same are allowed to participate in that subject. And that's a closed loop where nothing good can grow. That seems to have gotten lost on her and her gang.
And yet it is perfectly emblematic of communism.
Well, you don't need to have any discussions or debate when you already know all the answers.
Yeah. Speaking of knowing all the answers, Robert, what are we talking about tonight?
Well, Mark, we're talking about Avatar. Which one? Doesn't matter. They're all the same. Normally, the third one.
I challenge you on that, but this is the most right you're ever going to be with that statement. We hope.
Until they just re-release like this one with a new title and pretend. And who would? I swear, not going to go off on tangent.
Mm-hmm.
But if they re-released Avatar: The Way of Water as Avatar 4, it's shrimp.
The Way of the Communist.
No, it's shrimp. I don't know.
Seafood lobster boil.
Like moss and fungi. And they just re-released the same movie with a different title.
Avatar 4, Sharks and Minnows.
No one would notice. It would do the same numbers it's going to do no matter what.
All right. Avatar, Fire and Ash, or, Stupidity and Ass, as some people call it.
Way of Water Part 2.
Yes. the return. Avatar 3, The Return of the Sea.
Would you believe Avatars 2 and 3 were filmed at the same time?
Would you believe it started life as one script?
Is a 2025 American epic science fiction. If I ever decide to go into a communist life again, Robert, you have permission to kick my ass using all the jujitsu you know.
My jujitsu is fairly limited, but okay.
That's your takeaway from that statement, not, oh boy, I get to hurt you.
If you express that I can only hurt you with something of which I have limited knowledge, yes, my primary takeaway is the restriction you're placing on me.
Next time I walk into some young broad's live, beat the shit out of me. And chastise me for being an old man who should know better.
You do know, Mark, that we went way past the point of requiring your consent to beat you like a decade ago.
It's a fair point, Dave. You're always so wise. Fiction film directed by James Cameron, who co-wrote the screenplay with Rick Jaffa and Amanda Silver, from a story the trio wrote with Josh Friedman and Jane Salerno. Distributed by 20th Century Studios. You used to be Fox. And produced by Lightstorm Entertainment. It is the sequel to Avatar: Way of the Water and the third installment in the Avatar franchise. Sam Worthington, Zoe Saldaña, Sigourney Weaver, Stephen Lang, and Kate Winslet reprised their roles from the previous film. It had the world premiere at the Dolby Theater in Hollywood on December 1st, and was released theatrically on December 19th. Critics praised the visuals, characters, performances, and action sequences, though many were divided on the plot, screenplay, and runtime.
Anyone praising the characters in this is an idiot.
2 additional sequels, Avatar 4 and 5, are in various stages of production and are scheduled to be released in 2029 and 31, respectively. Golly, I wish they wouldn't. All right. I've been talking for a while. I want to get to this. There's a screaming toddler in the background who is the most important person on this podcast. So, Robert, if you could zip through the plot synopsis, that would be great.
Okay, stop me if you've heard this before. No, seriously, don't. We'll be here forever.
And so the colonists gave the engine guns, you see.
So we open with the Sully family in turmoil. Sounds familiar. They're with the water people. There's a bit of a, they decide that they have to send Spider to live with the people that have, breathable air for him. So he's not tethered to so he's not the boy in the bubble anymore.
So he doesn't wander around with a ticking clock.
But like we've all known a diabetic like this who just won't take care of themselves.
I resemble that remark.
Do you?
Hey, teenagers are known for their abilities to make rational, long-term thinking decisions.
And there's a reason that the number of dead diabetic teenagers is as high as it is. So they hitch a ride with the new band of Na'vi that we haven't seen before. Once again, stop me if you've heard this one. They're then attacked, this time by the evil fire Na'vi. There's a big fight. Some of them get separated. We get a little bit of Swiss Family Pandora. And right about then, Quaritch shows up, because of course he does. One of them gets captured. This isn't quite when Spider gets captured. No, it's about then. Yeah, so Spider loses one of his masks. He almost dies, but the super special key to everything character fixes it, so it's okay. He can breathe the air now. It's all great. He gets kidnapped because it's a human that can breathe air on Pandora, and this will be great if we can reverse engineer it. So Quaritch gets to spend time with his kid again. They wind up going to rescue him. There's a bunch of kidnapping. Shane Black feels like he should get a co-writing credit for this just for the amount of kidnapping. Quaritch winds up going to talk with the Fire Na'vi and basically goes, look, you hate Awa and the religious fanatics and the hive mind that connects everything. I can give you a better way to do this. And she goes, you know what? Flamethrowers are cool. And we're all kind of, yeah, they are. So they team up. They start looking for the Sullys again. Never mind that he's in the same village outside of which you had the big climactic battle in the last movie. But everyone in this movie is so brain dead, I'm surprised they're functionally able to feed themselves. One of the kids spends time playing lawyer for a whale.
A Time to Whale. It was my favorite legal story.
A few good whales. What are you going to do?
To kill a whale in space?
Yes.
There's so many layers to that one. I appreciate it. Anyway.
Your Honor, but what if it was your daughter?
The fact that that's basically the counter argument at the end. Now imagine it was a whale. Oh, so yeah, that happens. The kid goes off to go find his whale friend, and that's a whole bit of a sub quest. Jake winds up captured. Your generic protagonist winds up captured, and they're going to shoot him, but Spider breaks free and saves him. And there's a big fight scene through the evil city, because of course there's an evil city. The only Hollywood production I've seen all year, by the way, that did not feature a cast that looks like downtown Los Angeles. Whatever could Jim Cameron be saying by populating the entirety of his military expansion with white people?
Cite your source.
Yeah, Critical Drinker pointed that out. He's not the only one.
Okay. I'm pretty sure Garth Marenghi had a co-writer credit on this one.
That wouldn't shock me either. So they all kind of get back together, sort of, and then Jake gets the big red thing to rally the tribes, and the whales show up and they hear emotional testimony from the crippled whale, because there's nothing quite as effective as the retarded Jewish guy with the cancer-riddled dog in the middle of the Holocaust. This is an American Dad reference for those of you who think I'm just spouting random nonsense. And you see, because in case you forgot, what we're doing here now is we're still mining unobtainium. No, sorry, it's the brain goo from the whales. Remember the whales? Because whaling's bad. So in case you forgot that, we re-show footage from the second movie to remind you that, hey, they're killing whales, and we don't like that. But there's about to be the big whale migration and the big spawning, and the first time all the whale calves and the little water Na'vi humans get to go connect with the power node that links them with the hive mind that's controlling the Borg. And so there's going to be a big fight now, and there's a big fight. And the whales fight because they were impressed with Matthew McConaughey's courtroom speech. It was a hot, sweaty day in that courtroom, I tell you what. But it's still not enough. And stop me if this sounds familiar, but as all hope looks lost, one of the blue people's prayer to the guardian deity is heard, and a bunch of creatures that we'd seen previously, just kind of being out creatures in the world, now arrive with a purpose: genocide. Because Sigourney Weaver tells them to kill everything.
Genocide in the first degree.
So there's a bit of a big fight. Somewhere in the middle of all this, and again, stop me if you've heard this one before, Quaritch has kidnapped a couple of people close to Jake so they can have a big fight on a sinking ship. Once again, I swear I saw that movie last year.
I'm going to say a lot of really positive things about this movie. That's the one complaint I have, is I actually sat in the movie and said, hey, wait a minute, we did this already.
At least once. So there's a big fight. Quaritch winds up falling. We don't see a dead body in case they want to bring him back for the sequel. Edie Falco's in this for like 5 minutes, and she kind of dies at the end of it, but again, not confirmed because we might want her for the next one. The Sky People are driven back. Everyone's happy, and the movie ends exactly the same way the first one does, with the white boy having done enough white boy guilt to be accepted by the glorious natives. This is the movie. This is the franchise. This is all we've got.
David, what did you think of this ode to the Native American tradition of give us our guns and don't betray us? Give us your guns.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm going to get my positive points out more, because I think Robert's going to kind of just go all over the negatives here, which I will agree with mostly.
Why would you say that? Robert's usually really positive.
That is true. No, I just want to. I don't want to steal
on this episode.
Yeah. Overall, I enjoyed this film probably the most of the three. Good God, is it long? I didn't have a drink and I still had to pee by the end of this thing. It's just like
I never pulled a Mark and fallen asleep in the theater. I don't say that as a shot at Mark because I get what was going on there, but it's never happened to me personally. This close on this one.
Yeah, like how's Marsha Lucas doing? Like, could we like get her to go in and like make some cuts to this thing? Like, it's like I'm pretty sure we could get at least 30 minutes out of this thing and then lose like none of the main story. But I was excited to see this film mostly because of like the fire Navi. Not so much because like they were cool or anything. They were fine. Weta does good art design and all that. But it's more like my major critique of like James Cameron is like he's a good solid filmmaker, but he tends to lack a lot of nuance in his characters. I know, shocking, right? Yeah. Yep. So when I actually got to see like, oh, wait a minute, we're doing like not all the natives are wonderful, simpatico people who live in harmonious, utopia with each other and nature. Like there's actually like some of them who are like, no, we hate you guys and want to kill you all. I'm like, oh, hey, like this is actually like, I don't know, history. Because like, if you actually like do some research into like, native relations with the colonists, yeah, like it's not all the natives were perfectly good and nice people and the colonists did nothing but bad things. I mean, don't get me wrong. Natives have been almost wiped out by the Europeans in North America, especially. Like, they certainly got the worst end of the deal by far. This is
if you ever want to know why the Aztec Empire folded to 200 conquistadors, it's because literally every other tribe around them went, yes, we'd like to overthrow the people who hold mass sacrifices, flay the young girls for their bizarre ceremonies, and have literal buildings built out of human skulls. We'd rather they not be in charge.
Yeah, it's like the Maori, nice people, but what are they famous for?
Not being native to the island they're on and having wiped everyone out who was there.
I was going to go with the haka. Yeah, and Robert, what is the haka?
Oh, isn't that it's the dance they do before combat? But there's a cannibalistic component to that. Like, that's why they do the tongue thing.
Yeah, like it's a war dance. Now, I'm no expert, but I'm pretty sure peaceful societies are not famous for war dances.
They're not?
I know, right? But yeah, I mean, to not go into like a whole lecture on this thing, but yeah, it's like, when when the Europeans came to the Americas, for example, yeah, like there was some massacring done. Also, there were other native tribes that were quite happy to trade and make alliances with the Europeans so they could get all the good stuff. They saw the Europeans' technology and had said, "Hey, this is really nice. Cast iron cookware. Oh, this makes things so much easier. And guns, yeah, what a better way of killing, food for killing anything, including the other tribes we don't like."
Almost like history is complicated and people are people.
Yeah. So I was. Yeah, and again, none of this is me saying natives are bad or anything like that. It's just people are people, no matter where you go, and it's complicated. So I was really happy to see we're actually maybe going in a bit, throwing a bit of nuance into this.
I can't wait for the next movie where they show the Na'vi enslaving other Na'vi and then selling those slaves to other Na'vi or to the humans.
They'll never show it.
Yeah, they won't go that far.
Sarcastic.
Yep.
They'll make the woman king out of the Na'vis, and that's all they get out of it.
Not Na'vi historical revisionism. Great.
Well, that's what this movie is. This is Tarantino-esque wish fulfillment and historical fantasy in the vein of Inglourious Bastards. But keep going.
Yeah,
David.
yeah. So movie 1 was Save the Trees. Movie 2 was Save the Whales. So this one is okay. We're actually getting a bit of nuance. And actually,
this one is the Family Guy bit where Stewie gives Native Americans machine guns. Keep going.
Yeah, and to the film's credit, the stuff that they did with that, I quite liked. Like the relations between Quaritch and the Ash people and how that all worked out. That was interesting to me, and I thought there was some good stuff in there. The stuff with Spider getting to breathe. I mean, it pains me to say this, but that's only the second dumbest thing I've seen done with mycelial networks in science fiction.
I hate that that's true.
Yes, I know. But it's just, I don't like Spider. It's just I'm in the movie, I'm watching all the blue people, and all of a sudden, why is there this California surfer dude just hanging around wearing goofy goggles?
That wasn't what bothered me about him. It was he has a name, and in the midst of very emotional, tumultuous action happening, Sigourney Weaver still refers to him as Monkey Boy. It would be like if, I tease Robert all the time. He teases me too, but we'll stick with me teasing him for a moment. And then in the midst of us being shot at in an LA street, I still refer to it, "Come on, robot, let's go."
Yeah, but I'm with everyone that so many repetitive points to this film. Do I need to see hostages on a boat again, rallying the tribes together, praying to the goddess so that all the animals start fighting everyone again? This isn't poetry, it rhymes. It's just it's the same image. So I thought maybe just kind of do something different. Maybe they could have done something with, if you're going to do this whole Spider can breathe now, then maybe make that the focus of the film. We need to hide him from the RDA company or whatever and travel somewhere even farther out there where there's the hostile Na'vi tribe and Quatrich is on their tail and he's made friends with the tribe to help find him. I mean, that's that would be something new and different and potentially interesting, but they didn't do it. So yeah, I appreciate the action scenes. I thought the choreography was decent, and I like how they were able to just for a film that's all CGI, they actually were able to not go overboard and zoom the camera in on stuff actually happening in the battle that's actually interesting and drives the story forward. Whereas everything else is just let's just have every ship in the galaxy show up, and then what? Oh, that's it. We got the shot from the trailer. That's all we needed.
What a good looking shot that is.
It is a nice shot. And then what? Well, that's it. But yeah,
Abrams, that's all he does. And then what is kind of going to be on his tombstone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, it's got all the same positives as the other Avatar films. It looks great. The story is serviceable enough. But yeah, if they don't have another direction to take this franchise in the next film, just wrap it up. I don't need to see the same film
I'm
again.
going to be honest with you, Dave. I'm good with this just ending the way it is. But this kind of ends with the. It's funny. I keep comparing it to Lord of the Rings, but it doesn't really end with. Okay, it's Lord of the Rings if it ended with the
It's
battle.
Lord of the Rings if it ended after like 2 hours and then kept going and then kept going
Foul on
and
the
then
play.
kept going.
That was
Yeah.
Alexis. That was not a reason to interrupt me. My joke was it's Lord of the Rings if Lord of the Rings ends with the Battle of Pelennor Fields.
Yeah, I can't say that if they announce that they're not going to do any more of these, it'd be going, but no, I need to find out what happens after this.
Yeah, no, I'm fucking good on this franchise.
I defy anyone to name 4 characters from this that aren't Jake or Quaritch.
All right, did you have anything else, David? Because if not, I'm going to jump in.
I did like that we got a lot more Jake in this film and a lot less Loak. Again, I didn't need to see more of the father disapproves of the son. I thought we already had that in the past film. But again, we have to reset things.
I was okay with almost anything that you said except that. They had to resolve the survivors' guilt from the previous movie.
Yeah, but they kind of already did the whole "you're a screw-up son" thing in the previous film, and they had him at the end when Loak guides him out of the ship going, "I see you." Like, that was the moment where the father realizes that his son isn't a complete fuck-up, and
I
he
swear
has value.
I swear that they took the line "Don't shoot anyone you love" was also in the last movie, but I couldn't swear. There's just dialogue here that's just like, yeah, do it again. No one remembers any of this. Who's gonna call us on it?
All right, I like this movie. Fucking kill me. I mean, I'm already aggravating young pretty communist. Fucking fight me. Here's what I like, and I'm not. I don't want to nitpick and argue every little fucking point here. So some of this you're perfectly happy with the fact that you don't agree, but I don't really want to debate the merit of it since a lot of it is just subjective. I like the fact that over the course of 3 movies, they've built the lore that they did. Is the lore super deep? No, it's kind of surface level environmental lore. Okay, I'm so starved for like good science fantasy and lore building and a world away from my own that I've landed in the place of Avatar will do.
Okay, listen to me, people out there, creatives, the interns for places listening to us. You have ruined Star Wars and Star Trek so thoroughly that my poor friend here is like, this works.
That is in fact correct. Thank you. So I felt taken to a new place. I felt a place so far away from home. I felt very involved in this world. These are all things that artificially, I'll grant you, made me enjoy the film probably more than it really deserves. I did get a very Lord of the Rings feeling from this. Again, you're in the 3rd chapter of a lore-heavy world with a story that really has taken place over 3 parts. And I felt like it came to its natural conclusion at the end. I don't need to see any more of this. It's like I didn't need to see any more Lord of the Rings when we were done. I was good to leave now. So that's all kind of my subjective.
But you're going to get your Hobbit trilogy and you're going to like it.
No, I won't, because it's like that either. So good, the bad, and the ugly. I really did. I like the fact that when Quaritch decided he was going to give the guns to the natives, I was like, oh, this is fun. We're doing fun with history now. This is great. Because that's what this is. This is... I was talking to my kids about this. Avatar is wish fulfillment for people who fetishize Native Americans. Okay. If Quentin Tarantino can make a what if the Jews fought back against the Nazi movie, why can't James Cameron make a movie of what if the natives fought back against the white man? I don't have a problem with that. And that's what we got to watch. We got to watch the Native American slaughter white people. Cool. I'm glad everyone's happy with their wish fulfillment. I was enjoying it. And I don't particularly want to see white people slaughtered. Well, most of them. So
the communists can go.
No, the pretty ones can stay. We'll use them as never mind.
The communists do it to themselves, though.
My son in the background. Oh, Dad. Anyway, now that I've made meme clips for everyone against me, it's a pretty basic story. I mean, there's not much here. It's a lot of we're running through the forest, we're capturing people, we're saving them. There's an interesting scene in the movie that I'm still processing how I feel about it. So Jake has somewhat stupidly come to the conclusion that this isn't going to end until Spider goes, and there's nowhere on this fucking planet we can hide him. So we'll just kill him, and that'll be the end of it, and then maybe this will stop. And he goes to do it. Spoilers. And then then I'm kind of okay with the emotional beat. I'm not okay with the emotional manipulation of the audience, because you're led to believe he fucking stabbed this kid. Like, he just executed him with a knife. And then they pull the camera back, and he's come far enough to the side of his head that I almost laughed. It's one of those things where you've seen it in other movies. They either stab a tree, or they stab the thing next to him, or they just throw the knife, or they drop it and they go, I can't do it, I just can't. And instead he's doing one of these, like shaking his arm as if he's stabbing an invisible person. And I'm like, this is dumb. But the emotional beat I thought was interesting, because in a better movie, this would be handled better. But in a silly movie meant for mainstream audiences, this qualifies as emotional turmoil, where your hero character is wrestling. Your hero character is wrestling with, should I or should I not execute this young boy to save, should I sacrifice one life to save the lives of many? I don't think it was executed well, but I think the beat was
one of the worst iterations of the Isaac story I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was on my list of scenes that I think they could have just cut and replaced with a conversation.
Or he does it and is saved by a better way maybe to have done that was he goes to do it and he almost fucking does it, and Neytiri stops him at the last second. And then he finally comes to his senses and drops the knife himself and goes and does a Bugs Bunny and goes, what am I doing?
Yeah, that would have been better, especially because she was more in he's a pink skin, he doesn't belong here.
Yeah, we're doing a reverse, heel face turn here, which I think would have worked better. But pro wrestling
is done without any sort of. Never. I'll wait my turn.
So anyway, the human characters, I wish they had done a little bit more with Jake. I think if you're going to do a scene where Jake gets to be on display for the humans, and the humans are like, why did you betray us? Why did you turn on your entire race? What? Then there needed to be a Bill O'Reilly, or for the communists, or Rachel Maddow, that talks to him and was like, tell the world why you did what you did.
Yeah, they used up all the nuance points of the Fire Navi. Like the moment the generals called them savages, I'm like, really, we're still doing that? Like 100 years in the future, and
we're still
seriously.
Edie Falco was one of my favorite characters in this whole thing. I thought they handled her well, and that speech was just like, get these savages off my base, and then she turns to the fuckers like, and you, Missy. I had a good laugh at that. Film should be enjoyed. So, but yeah, they needed like a journalist character to be like, what the fuck with you? And it's like, hear his point of view. Like, the sad irony
require James Cameron having given any thought to anything about how this movie or the actions taken therein affect anything else other than the bubble in which it goes on in, and he doesn't.
Okay, liberals watch the news. I don't know what you want from me here. I'm saying what could have helped.
Yeah, and again, James Cameron would then have to think, okay, so what is the implications of what's going on here for what's going on Earth? What is going on Earth? What's happening down there? We have interstellar travel. Why is Pandora so important? What's going on? What way? How does this interact with anything? He's not going to give anything approximating that much thought to anything about any of this. He doesn't care about the world building or the story. He cares about the biology and his living furniture.
Is this where I mentioned Battle for Terra again?
I will move before Robert has an aneurysm. I'll just move on from that point, seeing it's not in the movie, so I'm criticizing in absentia.
For the record, I agree with the general point you're trying to make. I just don't have enough respect for Cameron's filmmaking at this point to think it was going to be possible.
Okay, Alexis. So I as silly as it is, and I'm again, I get annoyed with. So the critical drinker made a whole thing about, you know, the girl that's the key to everything, and yes, that's an overused trope now to the point of, you know, satire and parody, but I think it's a little unfair to this particular character that they made a point to say this character was different from the start, and so things are not lining up the way that they should, and she has to go on this sort of journey of self-discovery to figure it all out. Fine, whatever. I thought I was interested. I like the fact that she goes on that journey and that, you know, at the end she's able to finally communicate with the planet, and I like the concept that the planet is a living thing. It's definitely James Cameron editorializing about the environment. Who gives a fuck? It's his movie.
Yeah, I'm not sure what anyone looks like a human, but
well, the other side of that is I'm not going to get mad at a guy whose basic concept is maybe let's not destroy the planet.
Like, was anyone else thinking like the end of 2001: A Space Odyssey when they saw that reveal?
You are not the only one.
So again, I can't get mad at a guy who, you know, whose argument is the planet's a living thing too. Maybe let's not piss all over it. In broad terms. So I like that whole thing. I liked her relationship with Spider. I just wish she hadn't again called him Monkey Boy in the middle of them running for their fucking lives. I think where I started to really enjoy the movie, and Robert's going to laugh at this and jingle keys in my face. I like the end sequence. I again, it reminded me a lot of the Battle of Pelennor Fields. I liked the different phases. You know, it's just like, we're winning. The fire people show up with guns. The day is lost. You know, what else are we going to do? What other backup do we have? All is lost. Everything is falling apart. We have no hope. Here come the ghosts. You know, in this particular case, here come the bottlenose fucking sharks or whatever they were.
I think they were like squids.
Yeah, they're squid analogs.
So I was like, that's cool. You know, the planet having been peaceful up to this point, and you know,
except it hasn't. But that's a whole other thing.
Finally decides enough of this shit. I am sufficiently convinced that if I don't get involved, you know, the humans are going to do unspeakable things to me in an alley in a French movie. So let's just be done with this already.
Well, it wasn't an alley because I've seen that movie, but never mind.
So that was all cool. Negative, like, is the story dumb? Yeah. Could this have been cut down some? Yeah. Are we recycling a lot of the same beats from the previous movie? Yeah, but here's what I'll tell you. I was thinking about, and I keep making comparisons to Lord of the Rings, and this will be the last thing I say so I can give it to Robert. You know, Tolkien thought the world was ending when he wrote the Lord of the Rings trilogy. He had been in World War I and sort of saw, you know, looked into the Palantir as such, saw nothing but death, and decided, hey, maybe we need to stop this. And kind of worked out his trauma through Lord of the Rings. It's hard for me to be mad at James Cameron. He's not quite the talent that J.R.R. Tolkien is, but, you know, who is these days? You know, this is a guy that's kind of looking at what we're doing and going, is anyone going to consider maybe stopping this at some point? And deciding that that's what he wants to do with this movie. And I think he, effectively enough for people who are, with each passing day, losing the ability to communicate with each other, live in nuance, able to decipher language in any meaningful way. James Cameron wrote an environmental trilogy in a world decreasingly able to be, you know, literate. It's hard to be mad at him and how the film turned out when your audience is this dumb. So I kind of accept that he's trying to meet the audience where they are about a subject that's really, really important and deserves serious scholarship and discussion. It won't get it, but at least he tried.
Counterpoint,
Robert?
if I may, to that one in particular.
Well, then just go into your thing when you're done.
Yeah, I can get mad at him for this the same way I got mad at George Romero for Land of the Dead. Everything you just said applies to George A. Romero and Land of the Dead. Every single thing.
Okay.
I was mad at him because Land of the Dead kind of sucks. It's not a very good movie. A lot of reasons for it. And the fact that he was self-important enough to go, man, I've made all these movies about zombies with subtext. What's it take to wake people up? Like, buddy, Bless you for what you've done for cinema, but you ain't a cultural critic. You're not a deep thinker. And Jim Cameron even less so. Yeah, what do I not like about this movie? It's 3.5 hours long. Undeservedly so. This started. Everyone's been very vocal about this.
People clapped at the end of this. In my theater on a Sunday afternoon, people fucking clapped. Just keep going.
So you saw it with a bunch of marine animals. Got it.
Yeah, that's evidence to support my point that I was making, but please continue.
I would like to point out that at the end, in one of the end fight scenes, we actually did get to see basically a SeaWorld show with machine guns.
We did.
That was actually pretty awesome.
Except if we were to recreate that in real life, everyone would just be pissed that, no, you can't have marine life in captivity. It's not good for it. Shut up. Yeah, tell me you take Blackfish seriously, and then I'll know not to take you seriously. So this movie does not need to be as long as it is. This movie and Way of Water is, in fact, one story. It is overlong because Jim Cameron has no editing. He has no self-restraint. Consequently, as the more he wrote, the more he went, hey, let's just make 2 movies out of this. Why not? Okay, but so how does the first one end? Well, there's going to be a big fight on the water around the whales. There'll be a guy who's kidnapped. Be great. Okay, what about the ending of the second one? Well, there'll be a big fight on the water around the whales. People will be kidnapped. Jake and Quaritch will have it'll be great. Like, no, it won't. It's the same thing. A giant chunk of the emotional beats of this movie require you to have remembered things about the previous one that no one does. We have to, I guarantee you, there's an original version of this script that doesn't open with the brother in the spirit world with his dead brother. But they started it and got like people reading the script who went, wait, what happened? Why is the family not happy? Well, the brother died. We can't remember his name or that he exists. Okay, fine. We'll write something into the script. And the visuals are all great. As usual, most of them. There's a couple of spots where I don't know if it's a frame rate change of pace or what, but there were a few places when it just looked weird. I don't know, might have just been me. For the most part, it's fine. The characters are flat, one note, not especially well acted, with the couple of minor exceptions. Stephen Lang, God bless him. I mean, he did this like 8 years ago, so he was able to put a little bit more verve into it than he has nowadays. But he tries. Charlie Chaplin's like great granddaughter or whatever, who plays the Fire Na'vi leader. She's fine in that role. She's one of the only people who actually like commits to the premise of what's going on. Like the conceit that, okay, these are primitive people. So what are they like? Well, let's behave primitively. Who'd have thought? But Neytiri gets this weird, like, I'm no longer racist bit from washing off paint in the river, apropos of nothing else. Like, her resentment for humanity at this point makes sense. Humans killed her child. So she's struggling with Spider. Okay. And then she went to the human city and saw the humans and dressed up like a Fire Na'vi and now is like, I'm not a racist anymore.
Hang on. You're missing a very critical, obtuse, very blunt point. She was in the river washing the blood off her hands.
Yeah, because racism's bad.
But
yeah, I prefer the bit where she was talking to Jake and he's just like, well, what about me? Like, I'm human. Our kids are all half humans. You hate them?
Can we not roll over this point? She's literally in the river with red hands because she painted herself, and she's doing a fucking Macbeth, and she's like washing the paint off herself. It would have been more effective had she actually yelled out "damn spot out."
It would have been effective if there was some like moment that led her to self-reflection to think about this. It's apropos of nothing but the visual cue. This is terrible storytelling. So there's that. I've already mentioned like the worst Isaac story iteration you've ever seen with Jake and Spider. Just terrible. You've got the youngest kid who's there who exists to like. That character feels like something out of a 1960s live-action Disney movie, like Swiss Family Robinson or the original Race to Witch Mountain.
I was thinking more of like the Disney Renaissance Tarzan.
No. Like she's there to say Sully's never quit.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Spider. Sorry.
No.
Okay.
See, you can't remember the characters, Mark.
Sorry. Just keep going. I shouldn't have said anything.
Sigourney Weaver deserves better than this.
Does she at this point? She's had a good career. She can afford to take a paycheck for slop.
I do have to give him credit for like the best Aliens reference that totally puts Romulus to shame.
A lot of things put Romulus to shame.
Yeah, I rolled my eyes hard at the bitch line.
Yeah, I didn't pick up on it until like I had gotten home and was like making myself a sandwich. Like, oh wait a minute, that was an Aliens reference.
That's really funny. Just spreading mayo. Hey, wait a minute.
Yeah,
it was peanut butter and jam, but yeah, it was like, oh, well done.
It's overlong. It's recycled. If you watch 2 and 3 in close proximity to each other, you can see the one script. You can actually see where like we're doing the same thing again because this part of the 3 was supposed to be in this place in 2, and it just wasn't because we stretched it out for no reason. That's all over the place.
Essentially, James Cameron did the George Lucas of I wrote one long script and decided to only make the middle. And then I had to, or Superman is an even better example of this, where this is all one movie, but we don't have the time or the patience or the money to do this the right way. So we're going to take the ending of the second movie, put it in the ending of the first movie, and have to redo the second movie.
Sort of.
Yeah,
why are you mad about this?
If it were that clean, if they had redone the third movie, I could live with it. It's the same movie.
Yeah, can I take this one?
Please.
Sure. In the case of Lucas, when he made the first Star Wars movie, he didn't know he would be starting off one of the biggest franchises in motion picture history. As far as he knew, this was his one shot to do Star Wars. So he did as much Star Wars as he could. And it was only when it became big and he was like doing 2 more movies, like, oh, yeah, we kind of already did blow up the Death Star, but I had more ideas. Well, they'll just build a second Death Star and we'll do that again. Whereas with this one, like, yeah, James Cameron did the first Avatar, and yeah, he had no idea that he'd be doing another film. But then after that, they announced, like, we're going to do like 12 more of these things. He knew Avatar 3 was happening when he was making Avatar 2. They filmed them all together. Like you said, that there's like a 12-hour cut of this film.
I think, look, I'm willing to go with you guys as far as some of the stuff is recycled. I said it myself. It's not like I'm, like changing my mind. I think I'm taking umbrage at the continued assertion that it's too much copying the same movie, when I do feel like from 1 to 3, a story got told with other beats. I feel like I keep comparing it to Lord of the Rings because, and you can make a lot of the same complaints about it, where through the entirety of Lord of the Rings, Sauron wants the ring and Frodo's got it, and Frodo's got to walk to Sauron essentially to get rid of it. That's Lord of the Rings. Except that along the way, there's all these battles and conversations and things happening and more stuff is being introduced and the lore is getting heavy. Kind of reminds me of what we just watched, where by the time we got to this movie's version of the Battle of Pelennor Fields, the stakes got upped.
Yeah, but the Battle of Pelennor Fields didn't happen at Helm's Deep. Because we went back there, because that's where we shot it.
Robert, if I grab 10 people right now and show them the Battle of Helm's Deep and the Battle of Pelennor Fields, they're not going to know which one came first or why they're different. It's 2 fuck-all giant battles.
No, they're actually very different.
I know that. You know that. But James Cameron isn't making
anyone who watched the movie. Hang on. No. Anyone who watched Lord of the Rings knows the difference between those 2 battles. I defy you to tell me the difference between the big fuck-all end of Avatar 2 and the big fuck-all end of Avatar 3.
As I recall, the big fuck-all
What's the difference, Mark?
I'm trying to answer you. As I recall, the ending to the big fuck all battle of the second one, correct me if I'm wrong, is a little bit smaller and a little more personal between like just the water people and the whalers. This is this is like the battle of 5 armies. You had it, I just explained it 20 minutes ago. Like it went in phases. Let's move on from this particular point because I'm sure you have other things to complain about.
No, I'm gonna harp on this one because here's why you can't tell the difference. You know, I mean this in all sincerity. Here's why you can't really tell the difference. It's not just the same geographic location. It's that you remove all the emotional stakes from it by having the catalyst be, oh yeah, that thing from the last movie, with no other like recontextualization or retouching on it.
It's a fair point.
And that's where we get to in this one. No, the big end of the second one, I mean, for crying out loud, it even takes place in the same geographic location as the end of the third one. They're in the same spot doing the same things.
I think it's a little unfair. There were other elements to it, but I don't want to keep having this fight with you.
I just said that a lot of those other elements were taken from the first movie.
Which is also true.
So we combined the first movie and the second movie to make a big third one.
But in fairness to you, Mark, there were other things in there too. It wasn't just the first and second movie.
To see the giant sin that was committed here when we're doing a big giant conclusion to this 3-part story. That's 12 parts long.
I'm just saying I saw the patterns, but okay. I didn't hate it, but I saw it.
I am begging you to move on.
Here's my other problem, and maybe this is just me, but you say this is like the big conclusion. It's not. It was never gonna be. This is not a conclusion. It's chapter 2 ending. We've got chapters 3, 4, and 5 still to come.
Maybe we'll see how well this movie does.
They've already announced 4.
They also announced the Kang Dynasty.
Yeah, but James Cameron also has.
Don't fucking but me. James Cameron has already said, and I think somebody from Disney said the same thing, that if we're getting diminishing returns, we're not going to keep doing these.
Yeah, that's true. They also already literally have the project for 4 greenlit and the script approved.
And probably most of it's shot.
Right, because a project that's been script approved and greenlit doesn't fall apart in the production process.
Anybody want to talk about Star Trek 4? Not the one with the whales, the one in the Kelvin timeline.
We got it.
Look, it's just different with, everything that's going on here. They're at least going to do one more of these. They just are.
All right, come on.
So this is not a conclusion. Consequently, I feel no sense of closure because there is no closure here, which is maybe my other big narrative gripe with this. Zero closure.
I don't agree with that. The whole bit at the end with the Force ghosts.
Okay. If we want to play this game, is Quaritch dead?
We don't know.
Is Edie Falco dead?
No.
We don't know.
Also,
are the humans gone from the planet?
That's a definite no.
Are they gonna suddenly make peace with the Na'vi?
We don't know.
Most likely not.
Is there gonna be another conflict leading to another bit of violence?
They could
probably.
They could put them on a plot of land where they'll start a casino. We don't know.
Don't be glib about this. You're the one saying you got a big sense of closure with 18 with 20 different threads hanging open.
Your point is valid.
Like at least Return of the King killed Sauron. No ambiguity about the fate of the orcs.
Well, technically, you don't know that either because he's like all evil ghosty.
No, he's dead.
That was pretty thorough on that one.
The eye blew up. You don't know what happened to his energy.
He's the eye. Mark, it's explicitly stated in the movie. What happens? He's dead. He's gone. We're done.
He took out half of Mordor with him.
Yeah. There's a giant ecological problem.
He could reform somewhere later. He's a ghost.
Don't give them ideas, Mark.
Yeah, the Rings of Power is already in enough trouble.
Amazon's done enough damage already. My bad. Sauron returned to tell us, really he's just misunderstood.
See, your baby agrees with me, by the way.
No, that's the baby telling you to knock it off. So that's my big point about like, oh boy, we got closure. We closed nothing. We're still on as big a cliffhanger as we were at the end of the previous one. We just got the white boy to speak a little Espanol tonight, eh? Like that's all we've got here. We have like Cameron absolving himself of his white guilt via this dreadlocked avatar.
I think it's going a bit far, but
Okay, yeah, again, there's a little bit there that's a bit much, but
Yeah.
that's the functional point being
yeah.
made.
Also, like, not every culture views themselves through racial criteria. Like, there's been a lot of historical civilizations where, like, if you just try and like speak the language and live the lifestyle and adopt the culture, you're one of us as far as we're concerned. Like the Romans were like that. The Han Chinese, Han as in Han Dynasty, not Han as in ethnic Chinese.
Yeah.
Really? Because I thought you meant Han Solo.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm glad I
Got his
cleared that
rolling
up then.
dice at the Navi Casino, he did.
That's a pretty good one, Robert. Or even like what was it? Crap, what was that movie Pierce Brosnan did? Grey Owl, was it? Or
Oh yeah, Grey Owl. I remember that.
yeah. Whereas like he like pretty much pretends to be a Native American for the whole film and like starts telling all the settlers, stop stealing our land. And then they arrange for a meeting for him to like meet with the council of elders from the clan that he's pretending to be of. And they're just like, yeah, good on you. You're one of the tribe. They had a little chuckle about it, but they're like, no, like we support what you're doing.
Anyway, anything else, Robert? Because we're at an hour now.
Yeah, again, this is overlong, overly self-indulgent, pretentious in some respects, bland characters, mostly flat acting, uninteresting, predictable, repetitive, not worth the 3.5 hours you're going to invest in just the movie, to say nothing of the 20 to 30 minutes of trailers or drive time you might have to invest in this. Do something better with your time.
I was late to the theater. When I got in, they were doing like 10 minutes of the Odyssey. I'm like, am I in the right movie?
You're lucky. I didn't get that in front of mine.
No, I got the ridiculous Doomsday trailer.
Hey, please, the sad, desperate attempt of the MCU to rekindle interest in their product.
Oh, that was after the Odyssey trailer. Yes. Yeah, I got the Steve Rogers will return. It's like, I already knew that. Chris Evans was like announced in the casting, guys.
I've seen that trailer too. It's on the internet. So's the next one. There's 3 different ones that they're going to rotate out of being in front of this movie. This one with Steve Rogers, the next one with Tony Stark, and then the third one that hasn't leaked yet, but I assume will soon.
Well, folks, this is how you do a conversation. This is how you do disagreement. This is how people with different ideas and different ideologies communicate with each other and have a civil discussion about a movie that we all saw and ideas that it had within it without dogpiling, talking over each other, misrepresenting what someone else was saying, and otherwise being intellectually dishonest. I hope you learned something today. This has been your friend, the political shrink, Mark Radulich.
No one who needs to hear that is still around listening, and I'm sorry for it, but that's the way it is.
Thank you, Robert. With that, do you need to go, David?
No. We seem to be not having a meltdown yet.
Ask the baby where she thinks Sauron is. I want to know. and while you do that, here comes the money.
We're in the money. We're in the money.
And now our weekly discussion of capitalism. On a
I asked her market. She said Shewa.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
On a budget of the gross national product of Haiti.
Haiti wishes.
The box office currently is $347.2 million.
We're gonna have to.
Yes.
Worth saying, in the United States at least, this is underperforming. It's still doing. It won the weekend. We'll get to that, but for what it's worth, this is in certain markets not doing as well as it was projected to do.
I meant to say this before. This will be in my top 10 for the year. It's not my top 5, and I don't think.
Sure.
And I don't think
Deadpool. This is your Deadpool and Wolverine.
Ouch, that hurts, Robert.
I'd give it a bit more credit than that.
You've been you've been mean to me over the years, and I've let a lot of stuff go, but that was uncalled for. What are you gonna do? Talk about my children next? Jesus Christ!
You told me not to.
That's right. You were chastised for this. Just in the voice actor says hello. Well,
Hello.
sir. By the way, Zach was in here earlier. He says, I came into this review late. Is this part of the movie? The review better be longer than the actual. This review better be longer than the actual movie.
Respectfully, there's not enough in this movie to talk about for 4 hours.
All right. Like I was saying before all that, as of December 21st, 2025, Avatar Fire and Ash has grossed $89.2 million in the US and Canada and $258 million in other territories for a worldwide total of $347.2 million. As of December 17th, 2025, prior to the film's release, Deadline Hollywood projected an opening weekend of $340 to $380 million. The film made $12 million during Thursday previews, $5 million less than the previews of Avatar: Way of the Water, and then ended up grossing $89.2 million in its opening weekend, despite leading the box office opening weekend's domestic gross, with a significant decline from the $134.1 million made by its predecessor in 2022. I want to do a quick word on that before we get to the weekend. When it came out last year, at the end of 2022, it had been away for what, 10, 15, 20 years?
Yeah, it was like a 10-year break between Avatar 1 and 2.
People had time to miss it. This hasn't been away for that long, and they knew it was coming. So I'm not surprised.
And it's not offering anything new.
And you're right, it's not offering anything new. I think that's the one thing is the thing about Way of the Water is you really spent a significant amount of time with the water people and that environment, and again that added to the lore building. I thought we were going to get more of that with the Fire and Ash people, but then we just kind of got, a sad,
They're just
a sad post Smokey the Bear, burnt forest, and then we were done, and then we never went back there again. So
yeah, it's like, this is a flamethrower. Oh, this is freaking great.
They were half a step above the voiceless cannibals from Bone Tomahawk.
Well, I was going to say we got more of the environment and lore building from the whatever the fuck they're called, the goblins or whatever, in World of Warcraft. At least,
Orcs.
Or the orcs. At least they got to show you the camp and how that society functioned before we moved on with the adventure. You don't get that with this group, and that's one of the things that was missing from it. Because you got that with the last movie, and if you had shown us a little bit more of a world where fire is worshipped, it might have presented enough distinction for people to go, oh, I'd like to see what that looks like, because that's I'm making an issue out of it because that's a big attraction to the Avatar world, is I would like to see what this looks like. It's kind of its operating principle.
Yeah.
And when you
Completely
don't show
agree.
anything new to look at, you've now twice seen the prettiness of Pandora. Well, what does hell look like? What show me the Detroit version of Pandora.
It's the human city. That's the implication, I think.
Well, it's not good enough because we've seen that.
No, it
before.
isn't.
It's called Escape from LA and 900 other post-apocalyptic movies. All right. Enough about
Now,
that. So,
again, for the record, I completely agree with you, but if they spent a lot of time with the fire people, you might have forgotten about the whales, Mark. And we have to save the whales.
whales are perfectly fine. Avatar, Fire and Ash.
I'm not saying we shouldn't. I'm just saying that's the thought process.
Why do you hate whales, Robert? I must misrepresent you now.
James Cameron's still probably upset that he couldn't have put more smokestacks in that city. It's like, no, Jim, like, we need a place for people to live.
We want this part of Pandora to block out the sun with the amount of smog we're going to create.
Yes.
I believe
I did get a
great
Isengard
philosopher
vibes.
David Wright who once said subtlety is for cowards.
And,
You will always
and
be a
because
hang on one second. David, you will always be a treasured friend for giving me that phrase.
Yeah, again, that was Garth Marenghi, but yeah,
Whatever.
you're welcome.
I don't watch
once
people
again,
say
I don't steal other people's lines.
Once again, our big finale also took place during an eclipse, because that's a reference to this.
I thought that's just I thought that's just how night works on Pandora, because it's not a planet, it's a moon.
It's weird because I mean, you'd think that, but the way it's talked about, like, it's not an everyday thing. It actually operates on an independent cycle from the day-night cycle, which is so weird.
All right,
But that's not the way they talk about it. And again, that's not a reference that this creatively bankrupt, emotionally impotent franchises earned the right to reference either, for the record.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they mentioned it in the last film too, so I don't think that eclipses are that big of a deal on Pandora.
Avatar, Fire and Ash was the #1 movie of the weekend. David was the #2 movie in its debut.
Good for
The
that one.
Housemaid The Pretty Girl, what's her nuts in it, was the number 3 movie, and SpongeBob: The Search for SquarePants was the number 4 movie. So all of the movies
That's
that
a
debuted.
rough debut for the SpongeBob SquarePants
Well,
movie.
it had a lot of
anyway.
competition here.
Most
It had-
franchises die after the first movie. SpongeBob has had 5 films, so I'm not a fan, but credit where credit is due.
Not only that, you look at it has a Sydney Sweeney, a Christian, and an Avatar in competition. It's fine. If it had lost to Zootopia, you could say that.
Yeah, the fact that we're even just talking about it means it's won.
Yeah. So Zootopia went from 1 to 5 because of this. Five Nights at Freddy's 2 dropped from 2 to 6. Wicked for Good 3 to 7. Hamnet, I guess, had its wide debut, jumped from 11 to 8. Marty Supreme debuted at 9, which has to be in limited release because it comes out wide Christmas Day.
Yeah.
Dropped from 4 to 10. Now You See Me, Now You Don't, as it drops from 5 to 11. Eternity 9 to 12. Ella McKay, which is just getting savage, dropped in its second week, 7 to 13.
Oof.
Jujutsu Kaisen, 6 to 14. The Secret Agent jumped from 20 to 15. How the Grinch Stole Christmas dropped from 8 to 16. Predators Badlands, 13 to 17.
I really wish people weren't still there weren't constant. You know how all the bots stopped? You notice how all the bots stopped trying to convince you of the Predator Badlands hype over the last
You know what's funny to me is you're in an eternal struggle with the online movie nerd culture, and I'm over here picking fights with TikTok communists, and both of us should just get off the internet. It would be better
Yes.
it would be better for our mental. We should have followed Dave's advice during the Thunderbolts podcast. Just turn the computers off. Anyway, speaking of it, Sentimental Value jumped from 22 to 18. Is This Thing On? This is apparently a Walt Disney movie. Debuted at 19. The Voice of Hein Rajab, 24. And that was the weekend that was. All right. Did all of the shit get knocked out of the top 10? Nope. Superman's still there.
Well, because look, scroll down just a little bit more and you'll find Avatar.
Yeah, Avatar's number 17 between Sinners and Final Destination. So right now, Zootopia is number 2, which it was last week, as I recall.
Yeah.
Lilo and Stitch is number 3. No other real changes to Wicked for Good is currently at 13. It beat Captain America and Thunderbolts. For it to jump into the top 10, it has to make over 600 million, which it did last week, so nothing changed there. And Avatar has to more or less double its take for it to jump into the top 10. So we'll see what happens. We were pretty convinced that that's what's going to happen, but, one never knows.
In general, the Avatar franchise has also had good legs so far, so we'll know more in the next couple of weeks, but it is not opening as strong as it was kind of anticipated to. That does need to be said out loud.
So a couple of things. Yeah. As far as how well it's going to do, not many movies this year debuted with a $347 million weekend.
That's true.
So you figure it does 150 million next weekend, and then we'll see again. It came out at the right time. Kids are off from school now for the next 2-3 weeks.
It's the holidays.
I'm going to talk about that for a second, and I want to have a serious conversation about this. Nothing about this podcast has been serious until right now. I took my kids to go see it, but famously, I'm also the father who showed his son the "Show Me Your Tits" scene from Bad Lieutenant. So I don't count. But normal parents, good movie to take your kids to. If you've got a movie-trained 8-year-old, or maybe a little bit older, 9, 10. I'm just curious. Robert, I'm sure you're going to have some very conservative opinions on this, and I don't mean politically. I mean in a parenting way. David, you are a parent. If your daughter was of a certain age, would you take her to this, and what age would that be? And I'll start with you, David. Is this the kind of movie you should take elementary school age kids to?
Possibly. The biggest problem is the length, I see, more than the content. Even when I was in the theater, there was a kid in the row behind me. When is this going to end?
Give the kid a Vyvanse and popcorn, and they can sit through 3.5 hours. Let's pretend that for a moment. Go ahead.
Yeah, like I didn't really see much objectionable content. There's like one F-bomb in the whole film, and I think I can handle it.
They gave it to a weird character too. Like you get one, and that's where you place it.
So I'm not trying to be, like the religious right censor person here. I'm raising issues. I don't know how I even feel about them just yet. So again, I was fine with my 11-year-old and my 14, almost 15-year-old watching this. They've seen worse. But I was thinking about other parents. And, there is like suggested nudity in this. There's we almost kill a kid at least 2 or 3 times. There's some real heavy, like this, as badly as from a film critic standpoint as the scene where Jake almost kills Spider. I don't know how comfortable parents would be with their kids with that scene. Because to me, Spider comes across like a kid. There's a couple of other things. There's again with the Fire Lady and Quaritch. There's like implied sex. There's just some stuff that I was like, gosh, if you're the kind of parent that decides to banning books is still a good thing because God forbid a kid sees something queer. Is this really what you want to take your kids to? And I say that because if word gets out among the pretty conservative parents that I brought my kids to this and I wish I hadn't, that's going to depress its box office take. Robert, your thoughts?
I wouldn't take an 8-year-old to this for any number of reasons. The content's not objectionable, but again, there's a world of difference between being objectionable and being age appropriate. This does not strike me as age appropriate for like 8, 9, 10.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I don't know at what age you start learning exactly what happened to the Native Americans in this country in school. And you certainly don't. I mean, granted, it's been 100 years since I've been in an elementary school classroom. So I don't know if this is different now. And I don't really want to talk to my son about it right this second. But I don't know how many visual representations of, natives getting slaughtered, or for that matter, white men getting scalped. You show an elementary school kid learning about American history, and this movie, bravo for doing so. There's a lot of death in this movie, a lot of on-screen death. These aren't robots or zombies.
Faceless characters in the background.
Well, they're still humans. At some point, we sink a ship full of people.
Yeah, but there's no sympathy for them.
No. I don't know if you're getting what I'm saying. If you're a child, you watched at least an hour. That last battle scene takes about an hour of the movie, it felt like. And especially the last 20 minutes or so where the squids are attacking. Again, they're killing people. Like, like violently. The things are being like choked, bitten, drowned. They're screaming for their lives. And again, not clones, not robots, not zombies, real people. Again, I'm not objecting to it. I'm wondering how other parents are feeling. This is me doing like empathy and trying to generate a discussion. David, your thoughts?
I mean, it's hard to know for sure until like I'm actually at that point in her life. But I'm leaning towards more. I'd be okay with it. Mostly, like also like these things are real. Well, I mean, it's not real. It's a movie, but this is things that happen, and sometimes I think we're a little soft on our kids, trying to coddle them in every way.
I don't disagree. I think a frictionless parenting produces a fragile adult that ends up, in jail or in an asylum. But go on.
Yeah, and if the kid is like a bit freaked out, it's like, well, let's have a conversation. Like make it a teachable moment.
Who wants to do the Don Bluth line about as long as it ends well, you can traumatize children?
It's not traumatize them. It's you can show them a lot. There's a world of difference.
I was being somewhat facetious.
Yeah, you can scare them, but yeah, in the end, it'll all work out. It'll be okay.
To your question about like when did I've been thinking back to my formative years. I want to say the first time I really like learned about sort of elements of the westward expansion in school would have been 4th grade.
That makes you about 10.
And I'm trying to remember. Oh, it was called. It's the one about Chief Joseph. There's a it's not like a produced for educational purposes video,
Mhm.
but there is a very, very school appropriate video about what happens to the Nez Perce. It's called, I think it's actually titled after his famous speech, "I will fight no more forever."
Mhm.
And it's got a couple of battle sequences that, again, it's something you could show kids. I was in Oregon at the time, so do the cultural and political math on that if you feel so inclined, but it's not going to be super hardcore. So again, there's a few things in here that 8 to 10 I'd kind of be a bit leery of. By the time you actually get to like 13, easily this is all probably fine.
But again, I
But
would say 12 or older is probably appropriate for this
Yeah.
movie. Less than that. I say this because I feel like there's going to be parents who think that they're safe bringing their 8, 9, 10-year-old to this, and they're going to see what's kind of in this movie and go, "Oof, I don't know anymore. I don't know if this is
Well,
okay."
this is why we have movie ratings, and I'm pretty sure this thing is at least PG-13.
it is in fact rated PG-13.
That's a great
So,
point. I don't know if
so-
anyone pays attention to that anymore, though.
Yeah,
No, they don't,
PG
because
stand
people are
for
stupid.
parental guidance. I said, like, maybe you should go and watch this movie by yourself before
What
you
do you
take your kids to see it.
What do you mean this Avatar movie's NC-17? What? How? Like, with my poor family. Could you imagine?
Yeah.
Avatar: The Way of the Wayward.
I can't remember the title of the porn parody, but I'm sure it's something.
Something like that. I don't know. I just thought it was interesting. Food
Way of
for
the
thought.
Water Sport, maybe.
Maybe. Grinding Nemo. But yeah, I think I'll be curious to see what in a week. Once we get past Christmas, because people are busy right now. In a week, I'm curious to see what the word of mouth on this is beyond like the critical drinker circle. Because I watched this video and it was fine, but I'm less interested in what these people think now. I'm more curious to see like what does the average person think, and we'll talk a little bit about that in the next segment as we always do. But it's a fascinating thing for me because I think it's also one of the things that shocked me about it was for a movie that may or may not have a family audience. This was more violent towards humans than I'm used to.
Well, you also have to cast your mind back, if you will, to the original Avatar. There was a moderate bit of controversy around the, sex
Yeah.
that's on screen.
Well, that's I you know what, I had forgotten about that, but that's actually a great point to bring up. That this movie is sort of notorious for, but who the fuck remembers? It's 20 years and a few terrorist attacks ago. I don't think anyone remembers.
Of course not. That's why I'm here.
You speak for the trees.
Yeah, I think that stuff tends to go over kids' heads, and if it doesn't, well, it wouldn't have anyway. They already know.
Also, I think we should talk to our kids. David, parents don't talk to children. It's 2025 after all. What's wrong with you?
You give them a screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, Google it. Ask ChatGPT. It's your parent now.
Scary, but there's probably some truth to that statement.
So the only thing I was
Terrifying.
going to bring up is you brought up like when you were exposed to the horrors of of Native American history. I remember elementary school learning about the Trail of Tears, but I read that in a book. Books used to be these collection of papers with words on them.
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff that I had read about, before that, but
Mhm.
you don't drop the first graders into. So here's how disease is transmitted and what happens to large populations when you don't have
Well,
natural
I don't know
immunity.
about you, Robert, but in first grade, I was given Guns, Germs, and Steel by Pulitzer Prize winner Jared Diamond, and anything never mind. The other thing I was thinking about was, and I think it was high school where I came upon lies my teacher told me. That was chock full of like interesting stuff, interesting history about the Native Americans. But all right, anything else before we move on here? I'll just say in terms of actual like box office competition, next week is Anaconda.
Meh.
It's like I don't think it affects. I think my conversation about children will affect this movie and its box office take more than Anaconda will.
I got the full trailer for that ahead of this one.
You tell
You
me
poor
now if you
man.
want me to cancel it. I'll cancel it, Robert. I will. We can do a Netflix movie.
Which one? Because you might pick something worse. You might think that's not possible.
Like Hot Frosty 2?
I can move up I mean, I'm gonna take my kids to go see Anaconda because my son wants to go see it, and you know, the prince gets what he wants. Always gets what he wants. Isn't that right, Prince? Yay! He said, "Yay!"
All that agreeing with Dad is paying off.
That's right. See, he learns. He's smart, as I keep saying. I put a triple feature of possible Oscar contenders that are only on streaming right now. I think it was Jay Kelly, The House of Dynamite, and Train Dreams or something like that. I can move that up if you want, and we'll just not do Anaconda. I'm okay with that.
I would really rather not do Anaconda, all things considered.
Okay. Are you actually? First of all, this is monumental. You're actually advocating for yourself.
I know. It feels weird.
It really does. Like, I don't know what to do about this. All right. So
I've seen House of Dynamite. Boy, is it a lot of nothing. But
wonderful. I'm about to just take the night off. All right. So you want to kill Anaconda?
I want to kill Paul Rudd.
Do you want to kill Anaconda?
Yes, please.
All right. You consider it killed, and you want me to move up? Jay Kelly and company.
Yeah, I don't think any of those have much of a serious shot, based on what I've seen and read. But yeah.
I mean, is it worth? Do you feel like it's worth talking about, or are you going to fight me on that too?
Look, we can talk about anything because it's us. So I'm happy to do so.
All right. So live, everybody. So the 29th, which is a week from tonight, we will not do Anaconda because I love Robert and everything he stands for. Instead, we will do a triple feature of Jay Kelly, Train Dreams, and A House of Dynamite.
It's going to be look, Mark. It's the week between Christmas and New Year's. No one knows what's going on. It's the Bermuda Triangle of time.
Okay, well, that'll be a fun show to do, and now I have more stuff to watch while on the few days off that I have. The other, I guess, the other option is I can put that back where I found it, and we can do Marty Supreme, and I'll just take that off the triple feature. That's in a couple of weeks.
I have no confidence in Marty Supreme being close enough to me to get to.
I'll just leave it as it is.
Yeah, let's.
Okie dokie. Wasn't that fun, David? Aren't you glad you stayed for this?
Oh yeah, I think I might have to bow out before the critical review, though. It's getting close to bedtime here, but
I'm doing that now. Would you like to say goodbye, Good night, Gracie?
Good night, Gracie. All right, seriously, thank you both very much. Been a great year. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and have a good one, everyone.
Always a pleasure, Dave. Go take care of your kid.
Yeah, can you say bye-bye? Bye-bye. Nope, we're eating Duplo. All right, I tried.
I honestly thought you were talking to me, and I almost went, bye-bye.
That would have been good, too. But she's much cuter at it than everyone else.
You ain't just whistling Dixie. All right, good night, Dave.
All right, night.
Yep.
All right, and here it is, your critical review.
Are you ready? No! I said, are you ready?
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
So it's just me and you. And I can talk to you for a minute about this. So the funniest part about the interaction earlier on TikTok was I don't want to be involved in their discussion. I really was just there to listen. I don't want to hear what they had to say, but because I am not Borg, I am not allowed to participate. I understand the rules now. Well, I will obey. But I'm just sitting there and they're like, no, come up, please come up. We won't bite you. Come on, let's have a discussion. I go in there immediately. I'm talked over. I'm misrepresented. I'm catcalled. At one point, one of them will say to me, stick to movies. The thing about that I was going to just bring up really quick was when I said to them, like, when I was trying to explain what it was I was doing, they just kept taking a piece of what I was saying and then misrepresenting it in a whole other way. So like yeah, I was responding to the North Korea thing because I thought it was interesting. I just didn't like what she was doing there, and they would just go, "Well, but you have biases. You should talk about your." It's like hammering on the same points over and over and over again.
It's because none of these people are used to actually having a discussion or defending a point or even actually properly formulating a point. They're not familiar with the rules of rhetoric or apologetics or debate
Right.
or
And
civilized
now-
social interaction.
Right. And now I
So
remember
all
what
they
it was.
do is just try to scream louder and louder about, but you have this thing that I was told invalidates you.
Oh, so I remember actually why I wanted to bring this up again. So I left. I'm like, I'm 50 fucking years old. I have my own podcast. I don't need this. Like, I understand I was never going to win you people over, but I thought you were at least civil humans with, functional brains that you could actually have a civil discussion. You're not capable of it. I'm going to move on now. I'll go back to just listening to you say the same things over and over again. And I leave. I go back in a little bit, like a little bit later, and the girl is whining that I'm a whiner because I was calling them hostile, but also that I was like a big weenie because I ran away. So here's the thing. This is. I was like, I want to say this, and then I hit the theme, and then immediately, like an old person, I forgot it. This is what I was going to say. It would be like if I had invited Dave on here under the premise of we're going to review Avatar. But as soon as he gets here, I start commenting on David, his personal life, his beliefs, his general history on this planet. We don't ever get to Avatar because I'm too busy being mad at him and condemning him for being alive and believing the way that he does. And then when he was like, "This isn't what I came here for, and I don't have to be and I'm not going to allow you to abuse me. I'm not going to stand here and let you abuse me. If I want that, I know where to get it, and it's a lot cheaper than what I'm doing here." And then he leaves, and this is the trick. After he leaves, you go, "Well, what a weenie. What a weenie. What a scaredy cat. What a whiner that you didn't stay and let me abuse you." And isn't that the whole thing that we're dealing with domestic violence?
Yeah, these are the same people that don't understand the patterns and the abuse that they're perpetuating, but
No.
will scream bloody murder about believe all women.
Right. This is the axis too. The narcissism. The borderline. I'm mad at you that you won't stay and let me abuse you.
Yep.
That's what I experienced in the 5 minutes this all happened.
And that should be your TikTok about this podcast. Is your revelation about that interaction that has nothing to do with the movie.
I would like to talk to you about Avatar, Fire and Ash. You see, people get mad when they have mental illnesses where they feel the need to abuse you, and then you run away from them. And because they also can't deal with abandonment.
Well, I'm sorry that happened to you.
It's the hope that kills you, Robert.
It really is.
It's the hope.
The internet's a terrible place.
Just brings out the worst in people. I forget.
You mean removing the possibility for severe physical consequences for bad behavior has a deleterious effect on the development of interpersonal relationships and societal norms? You don't say.
Well, I talked about this at the top of the podcast, and I think it bears repeating. The personal history of the Rattlegion Broadcasting Network is I did a podcast. I sought a handful of people out, started doing a podcast with them, and other people liked it so much they came to me. I never invited anyone else on here. Sean and I talked about it on Twitter, and we started a podcast. And then prior to that, I went into the 401 Mania forums and said, "Does anyone want to do a podcast on MMA?" You all showed up. I did the same thing in the music. Yeah, I did the same thing in the Music Zone. Cooper showed up. And then Sean and I said we should talk about movie franchises because we had a really good conversation about it on Twitter one night. Every single person I've podcasted with came to me. I did not go to them. With the minor asterisk for Alexis that I said, "Hey, I'm doing a comic book called Ask Me About My Feminist Agenda. I need a girl. Are you a girl and will you come on?" Every other person was either sold to me in podcast slavery by either Sean or Dorian, or was friends with Jesse, or heard my podcast and offered to be here. I did not seek a single person out. From, after a certain point. And I'm making a point of saying that because clearly there was something about what I was doing and the way I was doing it that people felt accepted, that they thought that they would be heard. And even if they weren't sure, hadn't even considered it, once they were on the podcast and they saw how I operated, came back for more, despite my odd sense of humor, occasional misogynistic joke, odd opinions, and stories about naked karaoke. People kept coming back because they liked how I treated them. Oftentimes, completely disagreeing philosophically on any number of subjects. You being the biggest one, despite our banging heads on any number of occasions personally, you keep coming back because ultimately, and I assume this is true, I'm speaking for you, I don't mistreat you. And the little bit that I made you uncomfortable when you told me to stop doing it, I have absolutely tried.
Well, you don't mistreat me. You occasionally make me review things that I do under protest.
No,
but...
I was talking about like the
quasi. No, I know what you meant.
Yeah. My point is, what these people don't seem to understand is they're only going to get other people who want pointless debate. They're not going to... No one's going to keep going into these chat rooms, going into these TikTok lives, if they're just going to be abused. And the only people left are the people you wouldn't want to talk to anyway. If they were actually interested in sharing of ideas and appropriate engagement, they're not, from what I understand. They're just looking for people to abuse.
Pretty much.
And they're cosplaying as intellectuals doing it. It's a really weird thing. It's like a sexy librarian whipping you.
I'm not going to touch that one.
I'm going to let you have the last word on this, and then we'll actually get back to the podcast. I just needed to talk about that. I needed to avail my soul of this most recent disappointment.
Look, it's an extension of, and you've done this, it's an extension of what talk radio used to be.
Mm-hmm.
You say something inflammatory, say the lines are open, someone comes on and wants to talk, and then you run over them, make fun of them, cut them off, move on to the next caller.
Yeah, what happened to me on the Michael Medved show?
Yeah, and why you still
another conservative?
Look, you find jackasses like that of every political bent. That was what the medium wanted out of you.
Yeah.
Or you get the profoundly exploitative, the Jerry Springer subset of how this is done.
Yeah.
And it's bad. It's not good for us. It's not good for you. It's not good for anyone. But it's why the sort of group podcast has fallen out of favor in favor of either mutual shrieking or one guy who knows a lot, has a decent team of researchers and editors behind him, putting out one quality episode every so often.
Yeah, like Freakonomics or something.
There's a lot of them who do stuff like that, and you know what? God bless them. I'm not knocking it, but that's how we got to where we did.
It's just a shame because being fair, there's probably some really smart people in that ilk, but they're so fragile and so afraid of actual engagement that they'd rather just be abusive. And it's like, golly, the worst part of you is minimizing what probably might be the best part of you. And that's what's truly disappointing about all of this.
That's just where we are. I hate it too.
Speaking of where we are, speaking of the worst part of you obscuring the best part of you, the critic score for this is 66%. Top Critics drops it to 53.
That should not be fresh, but they're never gonna turn that to a splat.
Yeah. Verified audience is 91. All audiences is 90. Give the people what they want. That's what I say. And the AI writes, remaining on the cutting edge of visual effects, Fire and Ash repeats the narrative beats of its predecessors to frustrating effect.
Very true.
But its grand spectacle continues to stroke one-of-a-kind thrills. And the audience says, yay, blue people.
I've been thinking about this franchise for a little bit, and I forget who I saw do this. So I apologize for not giving a proper attribution.
Mm-hmm.
But the lack of cultural impact for Avatar. There's 2 movies in this franchise. They've made a lot of money. There's clearly a fan base, right? Right? There's no dispute about like the success, dollar-wise. But there is no impact culturally, right? There's no. You don't see them as Halloween. You don't see Halloween costumes around Na'vi. You don't see them show up at. Maybe very rarely.
You did a little bit when the first one came out, but nothing from Way of the Water.
Very small. Like, for a counterpoint, the very first Halloween after Star Wars. Look at how many Chewbacca's there were.
Yeah, sure.
And then you got like this, where there's a few blue people, but it was one and done. There's no like real fan sites. There's no real fan community around Avatar. Like, there's a couple of subreddits that are mostly masquerading as either fetish content or political diatribes, because that's 90% of Reddit, if we're just being honest. But there's a real lack of that, and someone, I think, expressed why maybe better than a lot of other people. Avatar is pretty much the cinematic equivalent of a roller coaster. And I don't mean that as a compliment necessarily, except to say the following. I can't tell you how good a roller coaster is, Mark.
Mm-hmm.
I can't share that experience with you in a vacuum,
1 second. What?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Like, you don't get like fan communities around different roller coasters. It's just a thing you do, and it's cool when you do it.
Right.
That's kind of all this is. It is empty calories. It is a base thrill ride that you go, you know what? I'm glad I saw that. I mean, who even fires this up at home? Watching this on a small screen kind of defeats the purpose.
I would imagine, like I said, it's probably one of those things that a small subset of people put on to fall asleep at night.
That's probably fair. But again, like, to that point, for as successful as these things are financially, they are not movers of the culture or leaving a lasting impact on anything. Apart from all the, power that James Cameron has to use to render all of his 3D effects. So, anyway.
Take 2. An immersive, mesmerizing visual experience and a long-awaited return to Pandora.
Long-awaited my ass.
3 years. Avatar, Fire and Ash reaffirms James Cameron's status as a contemporary visionary.
No.
There's no way a fucking human wrote that.
I refuse to believe enough human beings said something similar to that for that to be what the AI took away.
Let's see. Bob Grimm of Reno News and Review. Please let this be the end. I beg of you. Here. I have never
it's not.
I have never agreed with a thing more. Tom Meek of Cambridge Day, 2.5 out of 4. Each new Avatar installment has been noticeably longer and more eye-poppingly impressive.
No.
But also rides the rails of diminishing returns. More is not more.
I would struggle to say this was visually better than Way of Water. I mean, I don't think it's a step down, but I don't see it as a meaningful move forward.
Maddie Lucas of From the Front Row. Rarely do we see such unabashedly heart on the sleeve filmmaking at this level, but Cameron continues to up his own game.
Where is the emotional stuff anyone's reacting to in this?
Let me ask you a question. Have you seen Oh What Fun yet? No, not Oh What Fun. A Merry Little Xmas. That's a rhetorical question. You haven't, because you're not going to watch a movie like that. But listen to
I don't even know what it is.
Listen to the podcast that Jesse and I did on the streaming Christmas movies last night. Oh What Fun is 90% therapy speak. So and I asked the ChatGPT, our Lord and Master, I said to Skynet, why is this movie 90% therapy speak? What has happened in this world? Who is this supposed to appeal to? And the ChatGPT said back to me, it said, fucking Gen Xers, Gen Zers. And I went, oh. If James Cameron is talking to people in their 20s, This is hard on your sleeve filmmaking.
That's depressing on levels I choose not to comprehend.
Almost 2 hours ago, I said this is a movie meeting people where they are, speaking their language. This dumb world we live in.
This is, again, I seriously question the premise about how much heart on sleeve is going into this, because no. Watch an actually emotional, resonant movie instead of
slop. Leonard Maltin of leonardmaltin.com. Any filmmaker who asks a moviegoer to sit still for more than 3 hours had better have a really good reason. James Cameron does not. I lost an afternoon to the latest Avatar movie and I can't get it back. Leonard, we love you and everything, but if this is what you're going to do, please retire. You can do a blog.
You know what? I agree with Leonard Maltin.
I know you do.
Look, man. If you want to make a long-ass movie, okay, but you better earn that, and this doesn't.
Susan Granger of SSG Syndicate. In the cinematic art of world building, James Cameron has to appear, and this continues his mythic exploration with motion capture and digital effects. But it's overly long with often inane dialogue.
More than often inane. It's almost uniquely. Go back up. You skipped Doug Walker, and we both know you have to do that.
Doug Walker of Channel Awesome, the internet's greatest monster. 1 out of 4. Pretty imagery, awful script equals pretty awful. Thanks, Doug.
Love your contributions to the human race, Doug Walker.
Carson Tamar of Clappercast. Despite being the messiest Avatar film to date, Fire and Ash delivers another thrilling and emotional trip to Pandora as Cameron continues his grand adventure.
I'm still struggling to get emotion out of any of this. From anything. Like, who are you people? What's wrong with you? Flat cardboard characters walking through scenery.
Generational trauma and neglect is real.
Yeah, for my generation too. You don't see us parading around going, boy.
Crying about it, you fucking... Never mind. Adam Sweeting of the Arts Desk. It's a staggering technical feat or a stream of technical feats, but this is not where you'd come looking for subtlety, nuanced dramatic performances, or cunningly multi-layered narratives.
Boy, ain't that the truth. This thing has no subtlety, no interest, and no nothing.
King of the Gen Zers, Jeffrey Harris of 401mania.com.
That might be the worst thing you've said about him.
The Avatar franchise looks stuck in a repetitive cycle where it's simply rehashing familiar ground in Avatar, Fire and Ash. The movie at times looks beautiful, vibrant, and epic. However, the story never matches its visual ambition.
He is correct.
He is correct. He can still be our friend. Tom Santilli of Movie Show Plus. Cameron has once again built, refined, and deepened his cinematic universe, delivering another immersive, meticulously crafted chapter that reminds us why Pandora remains one of the most fully realized worlds in modern blockbuster filmmaking.
It doesn't help that most modern blockbuster filmmaking is, hey, comic book version of Earth. You're clearing the lowest of bars.
You know, for a while I was just trying to find the fresh ones, and now I can't even find anyone I recognize. Oh, good. Nell Minow of Movie Mom. Like its predecessors, the visuals are stunning, the action is dynamic, the story is thin, and the dialogue is painfully basic. Next to the visual splendor, the other reason to watch the film is the villain, played with sinuous menace by Una Chaplin. Okay, he froze. I was wondering why he wasn't reacting. There you are.
Yeah, I am.
All right. Well, before you freeze again. Woohoo! I just won money. Don't you chastise me.
On what?
Oh, well, you want to know my bet?
Yeah.
I bet that in the Frisco Indianapolis game tonight, that Christian McCaffrey would go over 65 rushing yards. He so far run for 85. That Brock Purdy would pass over 250 yards. He just passed 265. And that George Kittle would record 65 plus receiving yards. He's hit 115. So on a $50 bet with the bonus, I just won $316.25.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel good about this. This was a good night.
You shouldn't have said that on the internet. Now it's more taxable income.
Despite the fact that I was bullied by a 20-year-old girl. And her.
This is what you get for caring about what 20-year-olds think or how they behave.
I just wanted to see her live. Jesus Christ. My curiosity got the best of me. It's killed many a cat.
Mark, you also have to understand that 90% of the people on the internet are not worth interacting with.
Thank you for reminding me of that, Robert.
I'm happy to do so.
Speaking of not worth interacting with, Stephanie Zajarek of Time Magazine. Cameron's vision is no longer the future, but a nostalgia trip, a very expensive form of deja vu.
Accurate.
Movie magic can take many forms, but rarely is it as calculated as this confusing awe with stupor.
That last bit seems like a bit much.
Rachel Leichman of the Mary Sue, my fellow communists. If you go into the Avatar movie, get up, horsey. If you go to the Avatar movies only for the beauty of Pandora and not the substance of the story, then you'll be fine. But it feels like just another look at the CGI film and not like anything that expands the world of Avatar.
Correct.
Where are the black women? Yo, where are the black women at?
They're all in one battle after another.
Oh, come on. Robert Whitby loves the black women. Let's get some on here. We need more diversity. This fucking sausage factory that we got going on here. There she is. There's the future ex Mrs. Robert Winfrey.
If any of them ever actually see this bit and decide they want to come on, you're going to treat them every bit as bad as that poor 20-year-old communist.
Oh, that's not true at all, Robert. You know I give everybody a fair hearing.
Uh-huh. You would get ordained to do weddings and threaten to do it over the internet.
Avatar Fire and Ash recycles the Avatar The Way of the Water plot of Jake Sully being hunted for betraying Earth. Top-notch visual effects and exciting action meet expectation, but this franchise is running out of original ideas.
You lack the strength and moral character of giving this the splat it deserved. How dare you?
Don't you pick on her. She's a black woman. She's powerful and black.
Only one of those we have any evidence of.
Speaking of things we don't have evidence of, Grace Randolph of Beyond the Trailer.
There's evidence of Grace Randolph.
So, the weakest Avatar movie and James Cameron's weakest film. But with stunning visuals and great performances from Una Chaplin and Stephen Lang, it's still enjoyable for fans of the franchise. Non-fans, though, can skip this entry.
Hang on. She made an assertive claim. Okay. Is this weaker than the following films? Mark? Piranha 2, The Spawning. The Abyss. Good grief. This man has directed nothing. So I mean this in all sincerity. James Cameron, for as enormous a cultural footprint as he has had, here's all the main films that he's directed. He did a short film. He did Piranha 2. Then he did The Terminator. Then Aliens. Then The Abyss. Then Terminator 2. Then True Lies. Titanic. Avatar. Avatar The Way of Water. And Avatar Fire and Ash. That's all that he's directed.
Local black woman, Travis Hobson of Punch Drunk Critics.
Don't you assume his gender.
While the stories are following a familiar pattern, it's undeniable that Cameron is giving audiences the complete theatrical experience to keep them coming back for more.
I mean, he could give us a complete story. That would be nice.
All right. Well, all good bits should end with Travis Hobson, so we'll stop there.
I'm not sure that's true, but you never found Armand White.
You want me to look for him?
No, you don't have to. You closed the window already. It's okay. I'm just saying.
All right, so that's it for the week. We'll be back on Sunday because it's Christmas this week. So Christmas Day is Thursday, and I'm not doing a podcast on Christmas Day. What am I, some sort of white podcast loser?
You've done podcasts on Christmas in the past.
I have not done a podcast on Christmas Day. Jesse might have, but
If Jesse did one, it was with you.
no, he'd do that shit with Robert or somebody that doesn't have a family.
Okay, so you and I should be doing a podcast on Christmas evening, is what you're saying.
You know, it's funny. I actually could this year if I really wanted to, but I would much rather watch football. What has happened to me? So Sunday, Jesse and I will be back. We did not do season 1 of Legit like we were supposed to because Jesse was busy. But unlike other people who cancel on me, Jesse gave me an alternative and we rescheduled. And it was within a sufficient time that it didn't piss me the fuck off. So we are doing the entirety of Legit on Sunday, both seasons 1 and 2. And then as just announced, hot take, hot bananas, hot pancakes. Where's my girlfriend?
Why do you hate waffles?
Don't you misrepresent me.
I did the internet thing, Mark.
What are you, an online communist?
You said you love pancakes. I asked why you hated waffles. That's how this goes.
That's true. Instead of doing
when you understand that interaction, you will understand 90% of interaction on the internet.
So despite the fact that I will go see Anaconda anyway because I love my son and he's the most important person on me besides his sister, we instead will do Jay Kelly, Train Dreams, and a House of Dynamite.
I've seen House of Dynamite. It's not good.
In case one of those threatens to be an Oscar nominee.
Probably not, but no, Train Dreams I've actually heard good things about, so we'll see.
And then a week from this Thursday, we don't work Christmas Day in the evening, but we will work New Year's Day in the evening. And we will, in fact, be doing our year in review / look ahead to 2026. So I will have a new song and new ChatGPT generated AI graphics of myself, Robert, and Alexis in various cosplay.
That, can I tell you, the fact that you've committed to that now for for a couple of years is great. I appreciate that tremendously.
You're welcome. Yeah, I gotta work hard to beat last year's.
Last year's caught me blindside, and I was happy to be hit that way.
So yeah, we will. Well, the song was Jesse. I did all the graphics and everything. I still laugh every time I just the dear childless cat lady stops singing in the movies. A fucking picture of this fat lady sitting in the theater. Like,
it was good.
Cat in her head. My daughter, every time she hears that line, I feel attacked.
She's not bringing an emotional support cat yet. Your daughter's not lost.
That's true. I can still be. I told her the other day about me joking about me punching her in the parking lot when she threatened to sing "Wicked for Good," and she made this fucking face at me. She's like, and I'm like, I need to screenshot your face.
Then she stopped doing it as soon as you got your phone out.
I was like, I need a picture of your face so that every time I get a comment on one of my TikToks that's dumb, I could just put your face. That'll be my response from now on.
That's the thing you should do.
Anyway, that's what's going on the route. Yesterday, to continue our celebration of Christmas, Jesse and I did a triple feature of 3 streaming movies. Boy, this year was not as much fun as last year. Last year gave us Hot Frosty and The Merry Gentleman. This year we had Oh What Fun, Merry Little Xmas, and Jingle Bell Heist. You want to talk about
terrible.
It was a great conversation with Jesse, and I'm glad we did it. But you want to talk about a fucking podcast full of obligation. Oy vey.
A good podcast, not a good movie to be found.
That is correct. Speaking of no movies to be found, why don't you tell us what you're doing?
I cover mixed martial arts and professional wrestling over at 411mania.com. The UFC is in its end of year hiatus, so no UFC events until January 24th. The WWE, which does not have those same considerations, will have SmackDown the day after Christmas. It was taped last week at least, but yeah, so I'll be doing that on Boxing Day. I know the results already. It has to be better than the episode that just aired, which was not good. Man, I gave it like a 5.8, expecting to be an enormous outlier. Then I looked at the other people who submitted reviews for 411 on the same episode, and they're all low 6s. So I'm not outside the norm this time. It feels weird. Yeah, wasn't a good episode, but I'll be doing that Friday, and then yeah, the 4-1 Ground and Pound MMA podcast will return on, I think, the 18th. Not the 18th. My math is off there.
By the way, so I did a whole TikTok on Jake. You saw it. You heard that. You watched my TikTok on Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua. I was convinced that was going to split decision, that it was a fucking work. And I can talk to you about this. Here's my thought. I think Anthony Joshua, in good faith, tried to drag that out to a decision, and Jake Paul is so fucking bad against him and was so off that particular night that he couldn't conceivably let the farce continue. It would have shamed him far worse than actually going through with the decision, and so he just had to knock him out. There was no choice. Jake Paul was so bad. How bad was he? He left Anthony Joshua no choice but to go off script and knock him the fuck out the way he should have in the first 30 seconds of that fight.
Counterpoint, if I may. Jake Paul did not show up to fight. And believe it or not, it's harder to knock someone out who's trying really hard not to fight you than it is to knock someone out who is trying to fight you.
Okay.
Jake did nothing but run.
Sure, but
hang on.
I mean, are we really going to start doing the guy that runs in we're going to Alexander Houston this?
You mean Houston Alexander, first of all.
I'm dyslexic. Why are you trying to minimize an other me?
Second of all, if Alexander Usyk couldn't corral Jake Paul, I'd have two eyebrows raised through the roof. Anthony Joshua is not fleet of foot and does not have good ring craft and never has.
Mm-hmm.
So him struggling to fully corral Jake Paul when Jake Paul looks at Anthony Joshua like he's a bear trying to chase him down.
What are you doing, me?
A little bit. I'm more sympathetic to Anthony Joshua kind of going, I'd like to punch you. And Jake Paul going, but I'm going over here now, you big bear. And Joshua going, I'm going to chase you because I know your legs aren't built for this, so I don't need to do much more than this. And Jake Paul going, but what if I shot as many double legs as I land punches? Seriously, 16 landed punches, 13 double leg attempts. It was pathetic.
That was a rough fight to watch.
And then once Jake Paul, well, look, the reason I don't subscribe to it being a work, I think Joshua looked like a guy who hadn't fought in a while, trying to chase down a guy who moved a lot, and Joshua's not a good mover. And then finally, when Jake Paul's legs gave out on him because he sucks, Anthony Joshua went, oh, good, my heavy bag arrived, and proceeded to break his jaw in two places. I think that is just a significantly more likely outcome than Anthony Joshua, Olympic gold medalist, former two-time heavyweight champion of the world, agreeing to violate all the rules and regulations around official professional boxing.
That's the other thing.
For a payday, that's half of what Jake Paul got.
I said this on my live only because this is Jake Paul as this fight even being sanctioned, because no sanctioning body in their right mind is going to sanction what essentially is a middleweight walking around at light heavyweight against the former heavyweight champion of the world. Are you out of your fucking minds?
I don't know. It's Florida. They also sanctioned him against Gervonta Davis before that fell apart. Like,
my point being,
Florida would sanction me against Anthony Joshua if they asked real nice.
Fair. Or Texas, one of the two.
Indeed.
So, I ended my TikTok with the guy that has to end the story is Canelo, and I stand by that. I think Jake Paul, comes back and beats up some children, an actual working bear, a kangaroo, and then finally, maybe a real boxer who they have to strap to a gurney and resurrect with lightning, and then.
Can I also tell you that?
And then he gets Canelo, because what the fuck else is Canelo doing?
Whining that Bud Crawford retired.
Yeah, really? How do you feel if you're Canelo now?
Canelo sucks. I don't care about him anymore.
Well, that's my point. Like everybody sees Jake Paul as the leprechaun with a pot of gold, and they're all in it for money now. But at this point, legacy is sealed. Anthony Joshua has done all he's going to do in boxing. He's never going to be champion again. And here's the thing. And I think I said this on the TikTok, and this you have to agree with me on. Like, there's no appeal to him versus the only two guys anyone ever wanted to see him fight. It's Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. So even if he goes on to do that, it's worse than Pacquiao Mayweather in terms of we are well past the point that anyone would have been interested in this.
There would still be a lot of UK interest in him versus Fury. Wilder, no, but him and Fury, you could still sell a stadium in London with that.
I mean, only because those two guys are considered celebrities in that particular place. But you're talking.
Yes,
but,
there is in fact a promotional element to prize fighting, Mark.
Well, no, but I've been making the point for a little while now about how the money is in the distribution rights. The stadium is set dressing. So will those two fill up a crowd in London? Yes, absolutely. They'll fill up Wembley Stadium. I don't disagree with you. And if they don't, who cares? We'll invite a lot of celebrities, and we'll put pretty people in the front row, and we'll keep the uggos upstairs, and and it'll look like this actually is happening. Will anyone watch? I mean, maybe if it's on Netflix because people already have it. But is anyone paying for that? Not in this year. Not in the year 2026. Are you crazy?
I think it'd do all right. I'm with you that it's definitely past its sell-by date.
Mm-hmm.
But so is Mayweather-Pacquiao, and that's still the biggest pay-per-view ever.
There are so many different conditions.
I'm aware there's a lot of differences. I really am.
Mayweather-Pacquiao.
I know there's differences. I'm just saying, doing something past its sell-by date is a deterrent, but it's not a game breaker.
If you are a streamer, Netflix or Amazon Prime, and you are going to distribute Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua, you are expecting people to tune into that fight in large quantities. My argument to you is that I don't think people do.
I don't think they would on Netflix. I think Netflix is also super, super selective about what they put up.
Right.
I think Amazon could carry that without difficulty.
Maybe.
Some of that's also because it's Amazon.
I mean, does it get the casual boxing fan? And I don't mean like the casual fan. I mean the boxing fan that still kind of watches boxing. It's like, oh, I have my wife buys a lot of stuff off of Amazon Prime. I have this. I have nothing to do tonight.
That level of boxing fan, absolutely, I think would watch.
And timing is everything. If there's no other sports on, like if that's not a night that there's basketball, hockey, or fucking football, sure, maybe.
Or I mean, look, they're just gonna do it on pay-per-view because that's what they're gonna do.
But again, if it's on pay-per-view now, it's an $80 to $100, and who's spending that kind of money?
No, that's not as much as it used to be. The UFC did that one. Boxing pay-per-views don't have a little more flexibility in their price range.
Okay. We're getting into the weeds, and we're over 2 hours. So
besides, the best thing about the Jake Paul Anthony Joshua fight was Andrei Arlovsky beating up a streamer in the aftermath. Did you see that?
I laugh when Mauro Ranallo went full SmackDown. And it was like, what is this crap we're watching?
Dude,
I was waiting for a Mamma Mia.
When
hang on, what's the guy from Axis Fight who used to yell out the big kibosh?
Oh, the big homer for Alistair Overeem.
Yeah.
Michael Chiavallo.
Yeah, I really wish him and Mauro Ranallo were calling this. It would have been like JR and the King.
No, those two together is unlistenable.
I would have laughed my ass off. I would have enjoyed it.
But look, I get that Mauro Ranallo's style isn't for everyone, and I'm not here to defend everything he does and says, but at the start of one of the rounds, when he says the numbers are putrid as has been the action, I had to just applaud that line.
Well, wonderful.
Like, thank you for being honest, sir.
Yeah. No, I mean, there was a point where if you weren't honest with what was going on in that fight, you would have broken credulity.
Seriously.
Yeah.
But no, the best thing was, again, because Andrei Arlovsky was there for whatever reason.
Mm.
And there's some streamer whose entire shtick is being a little bit antisocial in public. And I don't mean antisocial like I am, where I'm just not like big on social situations. I mean, behaving in an antisocial manner, but he hires a bodyguard to then like step in front of someone who gets mad at him for being a dickhead.
Mm-hmm.
And they tried that on Andrei Arlovsky. And Andrei Arlovsky don't give a fuck. He just threw hands at everybody.
Nice. He was very Andrei Arlovsky about the whole thing.
Fought more there than he did his last 3 UFC fights. I know. I watched them all go the distance.
Well, that is the phrase that pays here on the Rattle Legend Broadcasting Network. So with that, since this is the last Damn You Hollywood of the year, since you just made me change it to the next week's show into a triple feature, it's been a fun year. I'm having, I'm looking forward to doing our year in review. Robert, as always, it's, there was a moment this year where I really contemplated whether or not I was going to do this for much longer. And, you kind of did a deer in the headlights at that moment, which still shocks me to this day. But I have had some time since then.
You threatened my routine, Mark. What did you expect me to do?
Well, I have thought about it since then, and I said, you know what? As long as this is about talking to my friends about a movie I saw with my kids, I'm okay with doing this for as long as you're willing to do it with me. So,
well, look, however much of an audience we have, however much I dislike some of the movies we see, we're going to see some that I do enjoy. And even on movies I don't like, I like talking with you about them. So I accept the momentary discomfort.
Okay. Momentary discomfort is the phrase that pays here on the Rattle Legend Broadcasting Network. So with that, love and brotherhood to Robert Winfrey.
2 weeks, man. In 2 weeks, we do our year in review.
Yeah.
I've got to iron out my list.
Yes. I have to have ChatGPT curate my list for me.
You son of a... You cheater. You absolute cheater.
With that said, love and brotherhood to all. Be well, be safe, and behave.